Hello everyone and welcome to question 61 of the Q&A series. In what way is collaborating with musicians from other countries different from playing with local bandmates, assuming you get along equally well in both groups? So first of all, I would probably question, I've got a couple of points, different points across here, and it can be applied to different scenarios, different contexts, etc. One of those is there potentially any language barriers that you might be facing in the professional world? Sometimes people can talk perfect English or whatever language you're communicating in, but actually when it becomes their niche subject, like music can be a bit difficult sometimes. They don't actually know the translations and that can become a bit muddy, I guess. Another one is, relating to that, before I skip on, it could be the way you learn music. Like from the UK to the US, we have different ways of simply naming note values, you could argue that the US is actually a bit more logical because they use like whole note for a 4-beat note, half note, 2-beat note, etc., whereas we use semi-breve, minims, crotchets, so on and so forth. So that could be a bit muddy. Luckily, me, because I'm teaching internationally, I naturally know the difference. I also learned from a couple of American books accidentally, so I just knew the differences. But yeah, another thing that could be affecting the way you get along with people from different countries, collaborating that way, is actually your different backgrounds and cultures. They may have learned music differently to how you've learned music, not just in the way of learning names of things, but they may have learned different skills. They may have been taught differently, like orally teaching rather than through Western notation. They may have just learned different music to you, they may have learned completely different things. So you have to consider that. Another thing, I guess, with this, I don't know whether you're presuming that the people you're collaborating with in different countries are actually now in your country, so you're going to be meeting them face to face, or whether you're actually collaborating online. Because if you're conducting it online, there can be a couple of different barriers involved. Here, you can't do it live online easily. I know there's a piece of software you can do things online with, it's like the most minuscule lag ever, but you all need to be connected through Ethernet cable. You all need the right audio interfaces and things like that to be able to carry out this thing. So again, you can't do just like a live performance. You have to pre-record everything and mix it all together, edit it together, etc., which can lead to quite a nice polished performance. But there's still issues within that from my experience of doing these sort of videos. Even if you're all playing to a strict metronome, naturally, because there's no conductor there, some people drag on notes, some people can rush notes. Sometimes there can actually just be a bit of a lag in the way your video picks up. So sometimes you might be actually playing it quite well in time, but sometimes there's just that ever slight lag. So there's those things to think about. But yeah, if they're local to you now and they live in your country, you can do it in person, and that might make things a bit easier. That can sort of make it a bit calmer to work with them. Online can sometimes be a bit frustrating, even though I'm literally teaching online all the time. It can be frustrating. Internet can cut out. There can be glitches, and it can make language barriers particularly a little more tricky. But yes, versus local musicians then. Local musicians can be very stuck in their ways and want to do things their own way. Obviously that depends on the person. I'm not trying to say this to put you off working with local musicians, but there can be some people that are very, I want this to be my way, or if they've actually been in an area longer than you, they might feel like they're like the king of the castle or something like that, or queen of the castle. So there's those things to think about. But I mean, really looking into it a bit more, collaborating with musicians from other countries, you can produce online performances that then get seen by a wide range of people. Local bandmates, you can do that as well as performing locally. So there's that to think about as well. But I guess culturally, working with people from other countries is nice because you get to then learn. You can learn from other countries. You can then make fusions of your cultures. You can produce music that has whether that's original or covers of something, and you can have it all influenced by your own upbringings and your own cultures, which I think is quite cool. So I hope that's probably given you a few things to think about at least. And again, any more on that, please do let me know. Cheers, bye.